Electronic Arts, also known as EA, is one of the largest video game development companies in the world, and you have probably seen a meme about them such as this, or this, and even this. But how can a company be such a big competitor in the market but still be the most hated company in the US? Join me today as we discuss what the problem with EA is. Founded in 1982 by a former Apple employee called Trip Hawkins, the company had a couple of different names, ranging from Amazing Software to Soft Art, but eventually stuck with Electronic Arts. As according to Hawkins' philosophy, developers are artists and games are art. At the beginning, EA didn't focus on making revolutionary game ideas, but they rather let freelancers submit their ideas and then they would stick with those they liked the most. In 1983, EA came up with a formula which would let them dominate the sport video games. EA Sports was born. EA knew that in order to dominate this market, you could not simply play as yourself, but rather as a professional at the sport, such as LeBron James or Shaq. In 1988, Madden was finally released, but in order to get NFL's coach John Madden on board, they promised him that they would make the games as realistic as possible. To this day, there are over 30 plus installments to the series, and one new game coming out each year with better graphics and an updated roster. The series alone has cashed in over $5 billion for EA. By 1994, where Hawkins retired from the board, the company kept on growing without him, but over time started to adapt a strategy that slowly turned them into one of the most hated companies of all time. EA started to buy developers which made games, rather than make games of their own. They bought Maxis in 1997, which allowed them to take control over SimCity, just to later on kill it. In 2007, they bought BioWare, which came with their popular video game series Mass Effect, and, well, let's not talk about how things went for Mass Effect. EA kept on buying other studios, but what they did was they usually shut them down. A great example of this was Pandemic, the very own studio which created Star Wars Battlefront, which was shut down only 2 years after it was bought. Throughout the years, the place started to feel as there were no real development going on, and EA was simply rebranding and redoing what other studios had done way before they were bought. It was in 2007 when one of the most notable events that would change gaming history forever took place. In 2005, FIFA incorporated a game mode called Ultimate Team, a mode where you could build up your own dream team by opening packages by using the credits you won in game. This addition would later on be included to FIFA '07, but there was a catch. You could now use real money from your credit card to buy packages. Later on, other games like Battlefield were also including this mechanic. Pay to win loot boxes were born. This whole time, John Riccatello was the CEO of EA. He was changed in 2013, not only to make fans happy, but there was also another reason. Despite EA managing to cash in billions of dollars a year, he still managed to lose money for 4 years straight. The change of CEO helped. EA managed to make their income almost 10 times larger in only 1 year. But their success didn't quench their thirst for money, as we have seen some of their latest game including tons of microtransactions. At this point, it didn't look like EA was about the arts, but rather the money. If you have made it this far in the video, I thank you a lot. Also, consider dropping a like and subscribing for more uploads like this. As it was previously mentioned, EA was probably the creator of loot boxes, and since 2007, almost every single FIFA game has had loot boxes in them. Other games have also incorporated this mechanic, but the twist with them is that they were just for cosmetics. When Battlefront 2 was launched, Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and the whole progression system was pretty much made so you had to pay for it, with Reddit posts acknowledging that you had to play almost 80 hours to unlock a single hero. Loot boxes were creating a huge controversy among the community, and governments took notice. EA was found guilty of child gambling in their games. The UK talks about loot box regulation. US senators propose a bill to also regulate them. Belgium bans them. Some governments even went to the extent of calling them a game of chance, and therefore should be considered gambling, as if it looks like gambling and feels like gambling, it should be regulated as gambling. But later on, EA would state that loot boxes were fun and they were like a Kinder egg. The case of whether loot boxes are actually gambling or they're fun and just like a Kinder Egg, as EA had stated, hasn't still been solved. And let's just hope it gets solved quickly, as I can be the only one who is quite pissed that I've got to pay to practically win in some games, such as FIFA Ultimate Team at the beginning of the game. Battlefield 5 was a massive disaster, with its sales being 1 million less than expected, and Battlefront 2 was alright. But there was still a chance. It was Anthem, a game which BioWare had been working on for 7 years and was a new franchise. There was no way something could go wrong. But it did. We have to go back in time to 2012 to understand what went wrong. In 2012, EA licensed BioWare to create a new game and gave them 7 years to develop. There were two main issues, though. The first one was BioWare used a lot of this time in pre production, and by the time they were done, they only had 7 months to launch. The second problem was that they were using Frostbite engine, a powerful one, but also a complex one. But most importantly, not one that was suited for the needs of BioWare for Anthem. Lots of the things that were originally promised never made it into the game. It is February 22nd, 2019, and Anthem is launched. It's not great. Loading screens take way more time than actual missions sometimes, and in some cases, when it was running in the PS4, the entire system would shut down. The game lost part of its player base in the first months and is slowly dying off since then. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate EA. EA has fixed a couple of things here and there, but it's not completely stopped the massive amount of hate that they receive. As I can't be the only one that feels that trying to milk your fans' wallet till death won't be the best solution to make your games good or to try to make your revenue super high. So instead of trying to get your revenue as high EA, maybe please focus on making the games actually work. But hey, what would I know? I'm just a guy in his room with a PC and a microphone recording this video. If you did enjoy the video, please like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. Until next time, this was Glytch.